What? What? Doyle. You in the back, pay attention. Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful day today, and the Captain Coder is here today to code it up with you. Ba-doop, boo, boo. Captain Coder here on this beautiful Thursday morning. Happy Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you happen to be in the world. I hope you are having a beautiful day, folks. Absolutely excited to be here. So excited. So excited. We have the whole crew. We have the whole crew, folks. Wavy, thank you so much for being here, my friend. I'm so glad you're as excited. I don't know, you might even be more excited than me, but I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty hyped up for Game Dev Thursday. Game Dev Thursday is going to be a beautiful day, guys. Thindle, I'm so sorry you weren't first, my friend. You gotta get here to look. If I learned anything from the movie Drumline, it is to be early is to be on time. So if you're not early, you're late. If you're not early, you're late, my friend. But that's okay. That's okay. You can be as late as you want to be, Thindle. And perhaps, were you really late, or were you here exactly when you intended to be? Were you here exactly when you intended to be? I don't know, but it's so nice to have you here. We also got Kovalaki. Welcome back to the stream. How are you today, my friend? So nice to have you here with us, Kovalaki. Shiny Games also. Shiny, how have you been? How is it going? Early access build uploaded, waiting a few hours before releasing the beast. Oh, Shiny, I'm so excited, my friend. I'm so excited for you. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Also, Shiny, I think you were looking for the whoa command. W-O-A-H. Whoa. Look, here, I'll demonstrate. Demonstrate the whoa command. Whoa. That's right. I'm so glad you're here with us. And also, Corfless, the coffee is compiling. The coffee has poured. The coffee is here. The coffee is good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Gives me that energy. Loads me up. Gets me going in the morning, revved up, ready to go, folks. Happy to have you here. And Clayman Dev, coffee is live. That's right, that bean water. That bean juice. No, it's bean water. Bean juice would mean I'd squeeze the juice. I don't squeeze the beans. I pour water over the top. That said, nothing wrong with some good bean juice as well. You know, if you want to just squeeze beans, you know, get them nice and juicy, and then you squeeze it out, and then you got bean juice. This is not bean juice. This is bean water. This is bean water. There's a slight difference. You know, it's like almond milk versus almond juice. Almond milk is you gotta milk the almonds. You gotta milk the almonds. Almond juice is when you squeeze all the almonds until the juice comes out. But it's so nice to have all of you here. I do have a machine that grinds the beans. That's pretty good. That's close. Clayman, how you been, my friend? How are things going on your end? I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thanos, this captain's always so wholesome and happy and awesome. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Look. What's the point? What would be the point of hopping on a stream? Look, sometimes I am not all happy and wholesome and this, but what would be the point of hopping on a stream and being super grumpalicious? Maybe. Some people like that. It's my shtick, though. But I'm having a beautiful morning, and it's because of you guys. You guys make me so happy and wholesome and excited to be here. That's right, Wavy. If you ain't first, you're last. If you ain't first, you're last. Look. All of you are firsts. I know Grumpy claims that that's his shtick, Thindle. Grumpy claims that's his shtick. He's not, look, once you get to know Grumpy, he's not that grumpy. The only thing, he just kicks you off his lawn. That's the one thing that's grumpy about it. Shiny, I'm so excited for your early access build to come out, my friend. I hope things have been going well. Folks, if you guys don't know, Shiny Games. Oh, come on, mod. There we go. If you guys don't know, Shiny Games, look at this beautiful little setup. We need to get it. I should take the gameplay of me playing this and chop it up and put it out here. Shiny, if you got a better trailer for me, because I just slapped that thing together. That pixel art, though, beautiful. You guys got to go check out Shiny Games over on the Steam store. Look, early access. It's coming, folks. Escape Space, you got to get it. Early access, there's a demo. Get the early access, add it to your wish list. Give Shidey some love, folks. Shidey, thank you so much for being with us on this beautiful day. Thank you for sharing your work with us. We love you, my friend. We love you. All right, what are we doing today? Well, here's a comment. How long? We're talking about. We're going to be talking a little bit about optimization today, but it's Game Dev Thursday, and I just found this. I found this chart interesting. This is an XKCD comment. How long can you work on making a routine task more efficient before you're spending more time than you save? Right. So here's a thought. When you optimize code, it's very, very similar. When you're optimizing code, are you spending more time than you need optimizing that code than the amounts that you're getting out? What is the value you're getting out? Are you optimizing nanoseconds? Look, that's what happens a lot of times. People tell me you should use a for loop instead of a for each loop. Yeah, technically you're right, it's faster, but how much am I actually saving? Where is that loop? How often is it called? What are we doing with it? Are we talking about a massive saving or a small saving? Wait, he says, I haven't learned how to optimize yet. My code is a big mess. It happens. It happens. We'll talk a little bit about it today. The biggest thing is you got to know, what did they say? Premature optimization is the root of all evil. Premature optimization is the root of all evil. There it is. Premature optimization is the root of all evil. Donald Knuth, you don't want to prematurely optimize because what are you actually saving? You got to be careful with what you're actually saving, how you're doing it here. That 1 minute saved daily, equals 1 day gives me confidence in my previous decisions. I'm taking high performance computing class this semester, Corfless. Awesome. What does high performance computing mean? What does high performance computing mean? I'm curious what that means in that context, as far as like what is, high performance computing? Is that like squeezing all the juice out, or is it you're computing on really fast computers? What is high performance computing? And maybe there's a good definition of what is high performance computing. Does it mean parallelized? Because I think of that as distributed. High performance computing, HPC is ability to process data and perform complex at high speeds. Yeah, so like in my mind, HPC. High performance computing is like, yeah, I would think of that as like distributed or parallelization. It will be parallelization. Gotcha. I did a bunch of work. I worked for a company. One of my first jobs, I was actually an intern at this place. One of my first jobs, I worked there for 4 years. So I was an intern, and then I worked there, and then I got hired. And like industry was working at a company. They had a giant supercomputer. They had a giant supercomputer with 6,000 cores. It was a little bit more than 6,000 cores. 6,000 cores, and it turns out if you're doing computations on 6,000 cores, it turns out you're really likely to have hardware failures in the computations. And so you actually have to have all this extra checking that happens. Say, did this actually happen? You're waiting for all these cores to work in lock sync. Anyway, at this company, for whatever reason, a lot of the processing that happened was in Java. Okay, so a lot of the processing that happened was in Java. And at the time, I think it was Java 1.5. Java 1.6 was coming out. It had just come out. Back then, it was Java 1 point something because they wanted backwards compatibility. Or forwards compatibility. I think that's what it was. Anyway, Java 1.6 was coming out, and they said, okay, we can't use Java 1.5 anymore. What we're doing here is too parallelized, too much stuff in Java, just like can't handle right. So my first internship, long story short, my first internship and my first big job, I worked there for 4 years, was writing Java compiler. Not just a Java compiler and a Java virtual machine. So it's a customized Java virtual machine to do highly distributed parallelized computing, targeting this just computer that had 6,000 cores. So yeah, that was what it was. I did a leap from 1.1 to 2, and Java just couldn't do that. Well, Java used to do 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, and then they just started saying Java 9. So really, Java 9, 10, 11, they got rid of the 1 point at the beginning, is what I understand. Smab says, I optimized my day by not watching and interacting with these streams, and I failed again today. Smab, oh, I know the feeling, my friend. Smab, absolutely, I know that feeling. Imagine every time you do an await task dot win all. That'd be perfect for a cluster. Maybe. Everyone takes notes. I don't know what I wasn't going. I was just saying, like, I did a lot of work. It turns out doing parallelization it's like a huge task, that requires all sorts of it's hard, yeah. So you go from being, as soon as you have parallel stuff, you go from being deterministic, so your programs execute top to bottom, right? So your program, when you're debugging, if you have some bug, you're like, I know exactly, it goes here, and then here, and then here. When you're doing things in parallel, it's like the order that things happen it's non-deterministic at that point, unless you put in the effort to make it deterministic, but then that slows it down, and so it's just this whole ball of gnarliness. So how do you debug? How do you find bugs? And you just got to be super, super careful with multi-threaded, multi-core things working on multiple processors. How do you get to work? How do you manage that complexity? It's one of the biggest complexities we have. And it turns out, as you get more and more distributed, things sometimes fail. Simply, you write perfect code the first time around. Don't you always do that? Always, Dindle. Dindle, how long have you been here? You know, the only type of code I write is perfect code. But what are we doing today, folks? What is the captain working on today? Well, let's hop into it. It's Game Dev Thursday. Game Dev Thursday. We'll see what happens. I had some people ask me some questions on Discord. So, folks, if you ever want to ask me a question, if you ever want me to cover a topic specifically on one of these streams, you can always ask on the Discord. You can also ask your questions live, and we'll hopefully get to them. I usually, in the middle of the stream, how to build a full game. That's right, Dramux. How to build a full game. That's what we're doing today. No. You can ask on the Discord, so there's a link to the Discord, and then during the stream, you're also welcome to ask questions. In the middle of the stream, we'll take a break, and usually at the end of the stream, I try and answer as many as I can. They don't have to be game dev related. They can ask me. You can ask me anything. Just keep it PG-11, folks. PG-11. Dramokes, welcome back. How you been, my friend? Happy to have you here. How is what are you calling your game? NeverQuest? Is it NeverQuest? Is that what it is? Have you come up with a name for your game yet, Dram? Thindle says, I might have mentioned this before, but do you know where the word bug and debug came from? Thindle, I believe that bug, the first bug, there was like I'm assuming it was a radio tube computer, I'm not sure. A bug got caught, like actually smashed or something in the hardware or fried on the hardware, and debug came from actually having to go into the machine and remove it. I find that to be a hilarious and fun little story. But yeah, you're still never-ending quest. Gotcha, never-ending quest. Look. It's the never-ending program. Oh. All right, here we go. I'm sorry. Sorry you had to listen to that. All right, so first off, we're going to talk about a DLL. Someone was asking me on the Discord. They said, "Hey, Captain," and they were asking. They're going like, "You know, I wish I could use some of the new C# features in Unity." So you may know in Unity, when you're writing code in Unity, I should have opened up a Unity project ahead of time. But when you're writing programs in Unity, you're making stuff in Unity, you are using a version like their version of C#, which happens to be around C#9. C#9. So it's a little bit old. We are on the cusp of C#12 coming out. So it's not crazy old. It's actually like C# 8 point something, but we're on the cusp. Let me make a new project here. I'm going to go with 2022. Let's go ahead and put this in I'm going to put this in, sure. We'll put it here for now. DLL no. I'm going to put it in the repository. Hang on. Captain Coder, wrong spot, git Captain Coder org, and then here we'll make a new folder. No, I already have a folder, Game Dev Thursday Misc, and we'll call this simple Unity projects. Something like that, and we'll put it inside of there. And then we can put a special get ignore here. DLL or DLL Magic is what we'll call this. Magic. There we go. I'm going to create this project. I don't want a 2D, 3D. We'll go, it doesn't matter. It's easier to go from, I find it easier to go from a 3D to a 2D than from a 2D to a 3D for whatever reason. Okay. But yes, we're going to take a look at this. Someone has asked me, well, you know, I'm in C#. I see all these cool features like records and a bunch of other language features that you get with C#12. In Unity, you are stuck is not quite the right word, but Unity, when you're working with a project inside of Unity, you're working with code that you're writing for a script in Unity, you are using C# 8 point like something. It's almost C# 9. It's missing a couple features, but you're using sort of their custom version of C#. Custom's a strong word. I think they're using mono, whatever it happens to be. But someone says like it'd be nice to be able to use these other features or some library that comes with it. And so we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to show you how I do it. I say, well, in my workflow, I tend to do all of my logic. I do all of my logic in sort of an external class. And then, so that way I don't have to deal with all the Unity stuff. I find working in Unity to be pretty slow. Just look at this. It's a hefty program. There's lots of stuff going on. So I find working in Unity to be kind of slow. And then also, I really like XUnit. If you're writing unit tests in Unity, you're sort of stuck with NUnit. That's what they've built in. I personally love to use XUnit and Shoodly and all of these additional libraries, and you can't, as far as I know, you can't do that directly in Unity. And so I'm going to show you the trick that I use. Look, Unity hates this one trick. No. I'm going to show you the trick I use to get my DLLs, write my code external of Unity, and then add it into a Unity project. Also, I got to welcome Watchmaker in. I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for following. Thank you for following me. Thank you so much for the follow, Watchmaker. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you happen to be in the world. We're going to hop into it. Smap says, I've started using a couple of the C#12 features in my code. Nice. I haven't quite used C#12 yet. C#11 with my students, I use, I think 11 is one where you have the indentation stuff for like multi-line strings. I forget exactly what it's called. And Balder says, Unity loading, oh my goodness. Yes, I agree with that. I'd rather build my own game engine than wait for it to run. Yeah, it takes a while. It's a hefty thing. It's a hefty program. It's like, it's more than just a game engine. It comes with raw strings. That's the word I was looking for, Smab. Unity is more than just a game engine. It is like a huge and Captain Engine confirmed claim NS. No. Captain, look, no, I'm Captain Coder, not Captain Engine. If anyone knows Captain Engine, get them in here. Get them in here. We'll let them know. Maybe they'll make an engine. Captain Engine. All right. So I have my project here, and one thing you'll notice, let's come in here. I'm gonna create a class, create a folder in here. I'm gonna demonstrate the Challenger scripts. All right, and one of my favorite thing, so when you make a script in Unity, it's always a mono behavior. I'm not a game dev by trade. I've only really been doing game dev for about a little less than a year, really doing game dev, but I've been programming for over 20 years. And so when I start to design a program, thinking about a problem, I don't immediately jump into mono behaviors. I tend to want to use interfaces and do other things, build out my logic, build out the core. And one of the features that C# gives us that I love is the record class and record structs. But something happens here. Let's say I wanted to write a class. One of my biggest one I like to use is point. Okay. One of the things I like to do, or position, not point. I'm gonna rename this to position. One of the biggest. Oh, and I'm gonna have to hang on. I gotta set up my project here. Maybe I should just start using Visual Studio here on stream. I've not been a fan of the new VS Code packages. They are not, I found so many issues with them, and I was looking online, other people have found the same issues. There should be an update here. I need to update this to 0.20, and it doesn't come in here. Why? Visual Studio Code Editor. Why can't I remove this in project? Visual. I need to remove the code editor. Am I in 2022? This is very peculiar. We're gonna see what happens. I may end up switching to Visual Studio. The new changes with Visual Studio codes are really frustrating. Okay, so I'm gonna change this. I want this to be a position. I have a feeling my autocomplete's not gonna work. That's okay, because we're gonna be doing stuff in DLLs. We're gonna be doing stuff in dynamically linked libraries, DLLs here. All right, position. Wavy asks, what is the difference in mono behavior and everything else? What's the difference between a mono behavior and everything else? So in Unity, a mono behavior is a script, is a class that can be added to a game object. So for example, if I have a position, if it's a mono behavior, I can attach it here. So I can add it here as a position. Mono behavior is a script that lets you add things to objects in your scene. It turns out you don't always want this. You don't always need this. Unity's scripts start out as mono behavior. When you right click create one, it creates a mono behavior. It sort of says this thing is going to have a start and an update, and it follows a specific set of interfaces and functionality that Unity expects for elements in our game scene, in our object here. So mono behaviors are the components you can use to build up things you're seeing. You don't always need this. Sometimes your logic has nothing to do with a game object. So you don't. So for example, I often like to use a class called position, and I like the position. This is you can think of a position. So let's imagine we were making a game. Just a clone of, what would I call it? Minesweeper. Let's say we're making a clone of Minesweeper. Let me get my Remarkable open here. And so I like to be able to logically represent the positions on a board. The positions on a board. Okay. So I like to be able to represent the positions on a board. And I could use a vector too to this, but in my brain, I like to use row column rather than X and Y. I like to use row column because it's easier for me to think about for whatever reason. X and Y confuse me. So I like to have position. So I like to think of position as rows and columns. So position has a row and a column. All right. So position is a row and column. I don't need all of a game object to have a row and column assigned to it. Hang on, I don't know why that happened. Let's try sharing again. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. All right, so I like to have a row and column. I could use a vector too, but that is sort of an X and Y position. But I like row and column. And I think the main reason my brain likes to think about row and column is because with X and Y, if we have like an X and a Y, X is sort of plus, minus, positive. Why are you doing this? What is going on? I might need to switch to my document cam. Hang on, folks. Grab your desk, grab something solid here. Let's stop this 1 second. We're gonna cancel. I think it's because we're getting caught up in something here. All right. All right, so X and Y is fine. So our column increasing, so this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So XY is fine here. The X and Y, the X plus the negative maps correctly in my mind. But row and column, this would be row 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With Y coordinates, sorry, that should be a Y. With Y coordinates, my brain, and this is just because in math, this is positive and this is negative. Increasing up decreasing down. So for me, logically, X and Y, when I'm thinking about a grid that gets rasterized onto a screen like this, rows and columns, makes more sense to me. Row, column. When I do X and Y, I get them, first off, I get them flipped. And then my Y position, I always have confused when I'm thinking about X and Y, so I like to think rows and columns. That is one of the reasons I don't like my position type to be a, what am I trying to think? To be a mono behavior. So I wouldn't want it to be a mono behavior. I'm gonna get rid of this. And I would like to use a feature in C# called a record. Public record class int row, int column. Okay. This, and my editor's not working here. This is a feature I can use in newer versions, and I kind of want to be a record struct here. I like to use this in a, so this is all I need. Now I have a class that I can create positions with rows and columns. I could do this whole thing here. This is a feature that C# has in later versions, later editions. But notice I'm gonna get a compilation error here. It says, feature record struct is not available in C# 9. Please use language version 10 or greater. Clayman, it does a bunch of stuff for us. It adds in a quality check. Clayman's asking, does the record create backing fields automatically? Yes. So it creates backing fields for row and column automatically. It creates an equality check, so double equals will work. It creates a hash code for you automatically. So you get a bunch of stuff for free if you do it this way. Voice of Grog, thank you for the follow. Voice of Grog, I'd like to thank you for following me now. Voice of Grog, welcome to the crew, my friend. Voice of Grog, thank you so much for the follow. Happy to have you here. Welcome to the crew. Also, I want to welcome Toxic Thief and Profits TV. Welcome back to the stream, my friend. So I can't do this in Unity. But let's go look at it here. I can do this if I go into, I have my game dev magic. Let's just create a C# project here. It compares the structural equality. Clayman asks, how does the comparison work? It compares the internal values. It does structural equality, so it compares that the values match. So let's make a dir here. And we're gonna just call this position example. Let's see, position example. Okay. Thank you for the Meat Boy thumbs up. I love that emote. All right, so I'm gonna make a .NET new class, new console project here. We'll do it as a console project so that you can just see what's going on inside of my position example. And then I'm gonna open up this folder. I'll open up this folder here so we can see it. So in the later versions, the newer versions of C#, let me create a new file here. This is going to be our position.cs. I'm going to put it in namespace captain coder dot, we'll call it position for now. I put it inside of another thing called core for me. But let's say we create a position public record struct position int row int column. Okay, int row, I'll go with column like this. I usually like to not do it short like that. And now in my program, I'm coming over to my program, we'll put these side by side so we can see them. This is just such a beautiful thing to me. I love the ease of these as well. So check it out. I can now do position p equals new position 0, 5, like that. I have to have the using captain coder.position. I don't know exactly this. It's all the new features here. So we'll call this p0 position p1 equals new position 0, 5, 2, and then we'll do another one, position p2 equals new position, just so you can see the equality check on it, 0, 5 here. Even though I'd set these two different things, I can do a quality check on them. Console dot, ooh, here's another thing you get for free. When you write it out, it gets a toString for free. And a lot of these features are really cool. All right, so if I print them out, so I use a write line to print them. By doing it as a struct here, .NET run, All right, if I do it as a struct here, watch I get these beautiful toStrings as well. Built out, beautiful is a strong word, but I get these toStrings, diagnostic information. If I do this, so let me do this the old-fashioned way. Let me do it the old-fashioned way. I could do public struct position. This is the old-fashioned way. Public position int row, int column, like this, and then I'd have to have in here public int row. And these would probably be getters like this. In fact, it makes these getters up above. Public int column. Get like that. And then I would do row equals row and column equals column. So one thing, here's one of the things, I do it this way. So I've redefined it by hand here. If I run this, I'm gonna get, this is what the default toString is for a struct. This is the default toString. You get some stuff for free. You get some great stuff for free, actually. And so if I use this version here, if I make it a record, it's like, well, there's a bunch of common things people are gonna want that people do all the time. toString happens to be one of them. Hash code happens to be one of them. Equality check happens to be one of them. So a lot of times you do that, and now we just sort of get it for free. We can't do this in C#9. We can't do this in C#9, and which is what Unity is using. And so we actually can do it if we do it in an external project like this. An external project here, and you'll see that I'm using net7, but we can't use net7 with Unity. So there's an issue here. We cannot use .NET 7 with Unity because Unity is using all stuff, but Unity is compatible with net standard 2.1. Net standard 2.1. Okay. Unity is compatible with, so if your program will work with net standard 2.1, you're good to go. All right. So next, notice when I try and do this thing now, I do a .NET build. When I do a build here, it says, oh, this, you can't do what you're doing here is we can't do in C#8. Can't do in C#8. So, okay. We now need to say which language we're using, which language. So we can do lang version. And I think I'm gonna go with 11. You can put whatever lang version you want here. Is lang version 11. So now, even though I'm targeting net standard 2.1, I get C#11 features. I get the language features. I don't get all of the fancy packages that come with net standard 2.1. So there's a bunch of immutable classes and libraries and stuff that come with net 7 and net 8, .NET 7, .NET 8. But .NET standard 2.1, this is what we're targeting. It says I want to build, I want the resulting bytecode, the resulting DLLs to be able to run against net standard 2.1, but I want to use the language features here. So I can do it this way. Check that out. Check it out. So I get this. So now I have this. I have my position here. My position struct. I can define it this way. And so what really happens now is we can say, okay, can I turn this into an assembly, a dynamically linked line, a DLL, and add it to my Unity project? The answer is I can. The answer is I can. So when you do this build, you end up with this bin chunk over here. And notice I had targeted net 7 previously. Now I'm targeting net standard 2.1. I get this position example.dll. This position example.dll. This JSON file and this PDB. These you could with just this. All right, so can I just copy this with just this one? If I were to drop this into Unity, let's see if it'll let me just drop this into Unity. Let's delete this position here. Take this DLL and I'm going to drop it into Unity. Maybe, possibly. And I usually create an extra folder over here called Dependencies. All right. And then can I paste it? Is it gonna let me do it? I think I have to open it up here. Reveal in Explorer. All right, so I'm gonna copy this over here and I'm gonna paste it in. Let me add you. There we go. So now we have this in here. And notice it sees it as, it recognizes a special type and says, okay, what platforms do you want to use this on? It works essentially as an assembly definition. If you've used assembly definition, we'll talk about those a little bit more. It'll show up as an assembly definition type here. And for now, it's saying what platforms do we want this? They're calling it a plugin. What platforms do we want it to be added to? And so if this was just an editor script, you could just do editor. For the any here selects all of them by default. And then we could exclude the ones. If we want it just WebGL, these other things, you could do it in that way. Same with targeting. So if you have specific binaries, specific DLLs that target just a specific platform, you can swap them in and out. And so you might have a couple different versions or whatever it might be in that regard. Okay, so we have this here. It would be great. It'd be great if I could just use it by default. I can't. We're going to find that, well, I can't use it. So I'm not going to be able to use it just yet. Not going to be able to use it yet. So now I might have like a cell, like a grid cell on the board. So this thing, it's going to be a mono behavior. It's going to have a position on this mono behavior. So I want to be able to have a position here. I'm going to switch, hang on. I'm going to switch to using Visual Studio so we can get autocompletes. The new VS Code stuff just driving me crazy. Preferences, editor. We're gonna switch to Visual Studio. I'm gonna try one more time to, yeah, for some reason, sometimes it lets me update my editor. So this needs to be version, but there is a new version you can do. This one needs to be version 2.0.20. Sometimes I have an update option. Let's see if I hit this. Sometimes I get an update option in my projects and sometimes I don't. And then same with this, the Visual Studio Code Editor, it won't let me actually remove it. And I don't understand why. I honestly cannot figure out why. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. It might be that I'm using a 3. I don't know. Try not to ramble too much here. All right, we're gonna let Visual Studio open now. And I'm not as efficient in Visual Studio. I don't know all the hotkeys as well because I mostly use VS Code. But here we are. We have a mono behavior like this, and I basically want to give this thing a public position, and we'll just call it position. And the issue, oh, that's interesting. I feel like this shouldn't have just worked. It seems to just work. I didn't think it was going to just work here. I thought I was going to have to create an assembly definition. But notice, and it's a little hard to see here. Can I magnify? What is the powered toys for magnify? Powered toys. Powered toys. What's the magnify hotkey here? I know there's one. I use this one all the time, but there's a magnify hotkey. Where is the magnify? Power tools. Magnify. Where is magnify? Power toys. Power toys zoom. Where's power toys magnifier? Did they take it out? Spot zoom. I zoom it with sys internal tools. I am so inefficient with these things. I'm learning them. There used to be, I've done this before. Smab, is there a hotkey for it? Mouse utils. Sorry to get distracted here, folks. I need to learn these things a little bit better so I can just give it a Windows plus key. Windows key plus plus. I think so I could zoom in here. No, I specifically want, so it's not, when I hover over this, I want you guys to be able to see this text here. If I zoom in and out, if I scroll in and out, it doesn't actually, oh, it makes it, that's crazy how small that is. This text here, I wanted to be able to zoom in on this. So you'll notice this position, it pulled it in from CaptainCoder.position, and it using this. And I was surprised this worked. I thought it was going to tell me I needed to do an assembly definition, which we're going to do in a little bit. But by adding that in, I now have this position in here, which is cool. I can use that position. I can write my structs. I can write my non-Unity code outside of Unity in a separate project. I can use XUnit to test it, and then I can build that DLL drop it in here, and then I have it. The one thing, and then that's cool. It gets the what did it call it? Zoom it. See what it's then Control -1. Zoom it. Do I have to download that program? We might do that. Control Windows key plus Windows key. So I don't have. Oh, there we go. Toxic Thief. Beautiful, my friend. That's what I was looking for. And then how do I turn it off? The question is, how do I turn it off? Oh no, now it's stuck on forever. Man, that zooms out. But I still have it open. That's what I'm doing. The minus zooms out. Windows key minus zooms out. Toxic Thief. We can just leave this box on everywhere I go. Is this part of Power Tools? Why won't it turn off? Hang on here. Magnifier. Hang on. I have my magnifier here. Settings. Go to settings. Windows key and escape. It's Windows key escape. Windows key escape. There we go. That's fine. That's all I cared about. If it's part of Windows, awesome. I don't need it. I don't need it to be part of anything else. Yeah, that's pretty. That's a pretty good one. I like it. So I can zoom in, I can zoom out, and then Windows key escape to close it. I'm gonna bookmark what you sent me here, Smab. Give me a second, everybody. Smab sent me a zoom it, sysinternals zoom it. Very cool. We're gonna save that for later. I appreciate it. Okay. You can run it from there. Zoom it is the tool you'll see all the MS presenters use. Got it. Got it. Very cool. Yeah, I need to get better with that stuff. I'm so used to I use when I'm doing online classes, we use Zoom, and Zoom has a bunch of features that I know how to do all the stuff in Zoom, but when I'm streaming, it'd be nice, and especially when recording videos, to have nice, easy things here. But notice, even check this out, I even get the underline, Clayman, if you're still here, check it out. This is what it decompiled to. This is what it decompiled to. The code that I wrote was here. All right, so this is the code I wrote. This is the code I wrote. It's just this struct here. Public record struct position, I tell int column. It decompiles into this. Look at how great, look at, not even great, but look at how much it gives you. You get a nice toString. You get a print members. This is just part of toStrings, I'm assuming. You get the not equals, you get the equals, you get a hash code for free, you get an equals for free, and you get a deconstruct. I don't know that that's that important to have, but essentially you get all this stuff, quote unquote, for free as it builds it for as it compiles it for you. So nice. I love that. I love that. All right, so if we come back to my grid, so we get it for free. You'll notice I don't have any documentation on it, and what I'll show you real quick, there's another thing we want to do here. Let's say I added in some documentation to our position here. I added in some documentation. So this is one thing that it took me a little bit of time to figure this out. But if I add in documentation, so that you guys may or may not have used XML documentation before, but if you put these 3 slashes in, for me, it sort of auto puts it in for it. I have an extension does it in Visual Studio. There might be another thing for adding it in, but this allows us to add documentation that an IDE that your editor can identify and says cref, a position. I always use a cref here. Name equals position represents a location that is row and column based. Maybe a bad definition. Represents location that is row and column based. Okay. So this allows us, when we have a hover here representation, we get that nicety there. Okay, let's do another build. We'll do a build, and I'll put that DLL in there again. So let's come back to Unity. Let's go to our dependencies. We're going to delete it. We're going to add it back in. So we come in here, we delete our dependency. I've rebuilt it. I'm going to add it in again. I'm going to add that in again. It'll recompile. And then, so it's compiled. I don't have that information available here. That information doesn't show up. I don't get it in my project. ID and T, welcome back to the stream, my friend. Yeah, we're looking at some more fun stuff, not so known things that we can do in Unity and useful tools for game development, things that I have found to be incredibly useful. Okay, so I don't get that documentation here, and that's because the documentation is actually not part of the DLL. So you can have like a really, so depending on what you're shipping, what you want to give out, you don't actually have to provide that information. And if we look here at these three files, can I please, hello? What did I do? I'm really sad the Windows Plus key doesn't work now. I was gonna zoom in on these, I don't know why. Okay, if we look at these three files, we'll see the type here. The DLL is just the compiled code. Just the compiled code. When you build this thing, you actually get three things back. You get the compiled code, you get this JSON source file. This is actually where your documentation is. And then you get this debug database. So if you're using the debugger and you include this PDB, the program debug database, it will actually let you step through the decompiled code. It'll let you step through the decompiled code and check out what's going on internally. So this is real. I find this really useful when I'm using my own DLLs because sometimes you can write bugs in your own stuff to identify bugs. And then the deps here, this is what's going to give us the documentation. So if I include these, I include all three of these in my Unity project. So I'll come back to my dependencies and I'll drop them in here. Of course, I can't do Control V. I have to drag them in, here. Now, if all went well, and I might have to, I should get, let me try reopening this. 1 second here. I should get this information. I might have to, it might not have detected the change. I might actually have to, let me try closing this and reopening it. I was hoping that would happen. I may have to tell it to like rebuild that there, but we're gonna see if just reopening Visual Studio will do it for us. Let's take a look. It's loading. Oh, come on. All right, we're gonna try rebuilding. We're gonna take position exam. We're gonna delete it. We're gonna put it back in and see if it will find it this time. It may be that you have when it changes, Unity might be doing something here where it reloads it. So give it a second here. I'm gonna be really embarrassed if it doesn't work this time. Let's find out. We'll find out together. Please. And I'm wondering if it's related. Oh, come on. There it goes. Now, that's interesting that it's not showing up there. But notice, now I actually have the source code. This is related to the PDB and the JSON I dropped in. So it's not the decompiled version in yet. And you can still, you can switch that on or off. But I just am not sure why I'm not getting the documentation. I'm not a Visual Studio Power user, so that could be something related to that. So I'm not 100% sure. But our position here, we're not getting that that documentation comment, even though it is now found here. So if someone knows why, specifically in Visual Studio, why that might not be showing up, feel free to chime in here because I'm not quite sure I understand. But yeah, that's the workflow for getting my DLLs and my dependencies into it. I can write my code external, things that are just logic based, things that don't require me to have a mono behavior, things that don't require Unity dependencies. I can do that outside very easily. And then I can use whatever dependencies I'd like as long as they're net standard 2.1. They need to be compatible with net standard 2.1, and then you can just add them in. That said, if you're using dependencies, so this also works for, let's say I wanted to, for some reason, use an external library as well. I'm trying to think of one I might use. Hot tip, 2.1 is a hot mess regarding compatibility. Try to use 2.0 if possible. Good to know, Thindle. I did not know that. Thindle, excellent, excellent. Points for Thindle. Thindle says, points, add. Use 2.0 if possible. 50 points. 59 points because my fingers are fat. 50 points. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, Toxic Thief. Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. We love it. We love it. Okay. One thing to keep in mind is if your project has dependencies. So let's say that we are using a NuGet package. NuGet package. The NuGet package you're using needs to be compatible with your target as well. So I like to use shouldly for testing. We're not going to worry about using shouldly for testing in this case. Oh, this would be an interesting. Can we get, so it's net standard 2.0. This is interesting. I bet you could use this with your NUnit stuff, with your NUnit stuff. But let's say for some reason we wanted to use a package out here. A very common one used to be a JSON, like some sort of JSON library. Newtonsoft JSON, that's the one. Let's say we wanted a full-blown JSON stuff to use. Look, you don't need this. I believe this is now part of, it's built. It's like the guy who made Newtonsoft, I think got hired by, is it true, got hired by Microsoft, and now it's sort of built into their JSON package. That said, this is not available. That stuff is not available in the C#9, and because it's not available, it's not a language feature. It's a .NET 6. I believe it's a .NET 6 feature. It actually can't be used in Unity. But you might say, well, I want full-blown JSON stuff. I'm going to take this package. So we're going to come here, .NET. We're going to add this Newtonsoft. We're going to add Newtonsoft to our position example here. So this is called a NuGet package. You can use these libraries that other people wrote. We're going to add this to our example here. We're going to add this to our example here. And you'll notice now when I do a .NET build. So let's say I wanted to use something from Newtonsoft here. Using Newtonsoft.json. All right, so we wanted to do something with Newtonsoft JSON here. And I'm gonna do a public void do the thing because I'm so creative. I wish I had a better example here. And then a JSON, JSON array attribute, something like that. JSON like this. So we now we're referencing the Newton's JSON. If I just do a .NET, build here. If I just do a .NET build here, and I go into my standard here, I just get my position.dll. So this built a position.dll. Unfortunately, if I try and use this, if I take this and I put this in Unity, I'm gonna demonstrate this real quick. I'm gonna put my new build into Unity. We're gonna end up with, Unity's happy to run, I believe. I believe it's gonna compile, it's gonna run. Position example. Oh, it made a copy of it. So hang on, I'm gonna run into some issues here. Delete that. Why does this want to keep opening that way? It really wants to open that up. Delete that. And then I have to bring it in again. All right, so I built it. I now have a Newton dependency, depending on Newtonsoft JSON's package. And it's going to build. I think it's going to build. I think it's going to be happy to build, and it's going to be in here. We're going to find out very soon. But there is a missing dependency. So it's happy to build. My program looks like it's going to work. It looks like it's going to work. But let's do a thing. When we do a start here, We'll set this equal to a new position 5, 5, whatever it happens to be. Position dot do the thing, right? So this is the method. Do the thing is a method. Do the thing is a method that is going to call, and maybe I don't have an actual thing calling it just yet. It's going to call Newtonsoft. Let's see here. If we run this, I'm expecting it an error. I might have to do a little bit more to actually have it happen. Oh, I have to actually, hang on. I have to attach this to an object first to actually get it to call here. This is our game cell, grid cell. It's still fine. Hang on. I have to actually do something with the library. I have to do something interesting with the library. I can't just do this. JSON. JSON now it's not doing anything. Give me some autocomplete. JSON. No suggestions. What's happening? Something awkward. .NET build. Bear with me. I think it's Uwan Taylor asks, hi mate, I just got a job as a junior Python developer. I've got experience with Java, C#, Unity, etc. Have you got any good tutorials for cool projects I make in Python that I can get up to speed before I start? It depends on what your job is. What are you doing as a Python developer is a question here. So what are you doing as a Python developer? Are you doing like a web app? What type of program? Because Python is a general purpose language. Are you doing machine learning? Are you doing API development? Are you doing web development? What is your stack like at work? What are the features you're looking there? What's up with all these bears, Stendhal? That's right. What's up with all these bears? I don't know why I started saying bear with me. It might have been because of Jern's stream, folks. It might have been because of Jern's stream. Okay, so can I reload? Oh, I'm in the wrong VS Code project. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go. All right, do the thing. I didn't actually do anything. So we're gonna do a JSON converter. New JSON converter. How do I make one of these? I just so you know, I haven't used this yet. Can read virtual. I just want JSON document, JSON reader equals new JSON reader. Hang on, I'm trying to, let's look at Newtonsoft documentation. Newtonsoft documentation. I should have picked a library that I'm familiar with. Let's just look at their documentation, getting started, samples, and we're just gonna take one of their samples and put it in here. Serializing JSON, okay. JSON convert, serialize object, here we go. And we're just gonna pass the new position 0, 0. Okay, so I believe this is gonna actually, now it's gonna execute code from Newtonsoft's JSON convert. Let's do a build. I don't think I actually built this before. And so let's come back into our project here. I'm gonna delete these things. And then we are going to add our DLL backend. So this is the new library, the new position library that uses Newtonsoft. It's using Newtonsoft. So I added that in. Unity's building now. Toxic Thief asks, is it possible to scrape stock market data in Unity? Yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't. You're using C#. You absolutely could scrape stock market data in Unity. You'd have to write, so essentially it comes down, can you do it in C#? Can you do it in C#? If you can do it in C#, almost certainly the answer is yes. In Unity, specifically for a desktop app, you can. WebGL builds are a little bit trickier, yeah, so that's sort of where we're at with that. I hope that, did I answer your question? I'm not sure if I answered your question. So we have our grid cell. When we start, we should call do the thing. Do the thing. Okay, let me save this in. Let's see here, I'm curious. I'm expecting it to blow up. It doesn't blow up. I'm super surprised. I'm absolutely kind of blown away that this didn't blow up because there should be a dependency. There should be a dependency in position example. I think maybe do the thing JSON.convert using JSON here. Newtonsoft. The only thing I can think is, hang on, is Newtonsoft using Newtonsoft.json. I think this might actually be built into, I've seen Newtonsoft in Unity. Newtonsoft. Unity might have this as a, I think Unity actually might have this as a package that it's somehow referencing. Okay. That said, if you're using dependencies, you need to actually get those as well. You need to get those as well. And so you can get those DLLs and you'll add those in here as well so that they can reference each other. So that's sort of what I was getting at here. I'm sorry if that was confusing. So I apologize for the confusion. I'll try and come up with a better example next time. I don't want to get too derailed here. Let's see. Max Funk says, do you know anything about netcode? In Unity, very little. I've done one tiny multiplayer game. I have not built that much using netcode in Unity, so I am by far capable of speaking on it in any sort of with any sort of competence. Let's say that. Max says, I start relay, I create a lobby, I start host. When I try to find allocation with the join code from lobby data, it says it can't find relay allocation. A bit cryptic. What I mean, as a host, I start it as a client. I find the lobby, but relay never gets found. Yeah, so it sounds like maybe it might be a question for the Discord. So on the Discord, there's a section specifically to ask for help. We have a lot of really solid Unity developers on the Discord. Super solid Unity developers on the Discord. If you ask in the ask for help section and you tag it with Unity, absolutely people will hop in and try and help you. In fact, I will too. It sounds like it might be a little bit of a off topic for this one. But I'm always happy to look at ideas around that too. Like look into it and try and help you out. I'm happy to help with that. Sometimes, so I have a lot of programming background, and I say I have developer intuition. I have like a lot of intuitions about how things should work. So I have done multiplayer things, just not so much in Unity, and I've done networked things as well, using like big networked applications. Big is a strong word. Applications that need real-time, socket connections, that sort of thing. For communicating with each other as far as like server client goes, but not so much in like the multiplayer world, but a lot of it is related. All right. So that's what I wanted to talk about with DLLs. DLLs. I'm going to add a marker here. Bear with me just a second. Hang on with me just a second. Sorry, Thindle. No bears. No bears. Should be. Bear with me. I gotta look. Now I'm all self-conscious of me saying bear with me. I'm conscious of it. Add stream marker here. Where are we hanging now? You're hanging onto your desk, Clayman. Hang onto your desk. Make sure you don't fly away, because we're spinning fast. We're spinning fast. End of DLLs. All right, there we go. All right, so we've just reached the end of this segment. We're gonna do questions. We're gonna do some questions. If you have a question, feel free to get that into the chat here. We'll try and answer it. Gilgamesh asked, so here's my question to you. Last time Gilgamesh asked, and I forgot to answer the question here, how do we do caching? How do we do caching? So we were talking about caching last time. We were talking about dictionaries. We were talking about hash tables last time. And hash tables, dictionaries are a perfect example of how to cache and what caching is. All right. Oh no, my question's texting it. I didn't get updated here. Try Q instead of AMA. Try question. Clayman, I got to make it so the AMA does that as well. That's funny. Try !Q followed by your question to get it in there. So we're gonna take a quick gander at that. Let me add in a mark here. How do we do caching? All right. Here we go. Donnie, welcome back to the stream, my friend. Happy to have you here. We are answering the question, how do we do caching? And so I think this question, and Gilgamesh, I don't think Gilgamesh is here. They were here last time. I think the question here, go to my temp folder. Caching example. Let's talk a little bit about what caching is, why we do it, and some the very, very basics of it. I'm going to use a dictionary for it, .NET new console. We're going to create a caching example here. So the idea with caching, what is a cache? A cache is sort of a data store that allows us to store and retrieve data for use later. Oftentimes caching is, you don't want to do a calculation multiple times. Maybe the calculation is expensive and you want to save that information so you can use it later. One of the like famous, let's see, is it a famous example? Let's say we have a calculation that takes a while to do. And we do caching all the time in Unity as well. In our awake and our starts, we will cache things. But let's say we want to find, and this is what we did last time, and maybe I'll just pull up that example. Hang on. Sorry, folks. Let's just go to my Captain Coder org. What did I work on? What folder was I in last time? Was this Al? This is getting big. This was our hash table. All right, we're gonna go here. Okay, so what we were doing last time, so we're talking about hash tables. A hash table allows us to have a data store that has a key to a value, and we hash things to look it up. We convert things into sort of this indexing ability. And we were writing a program. We wanted to write a program that would analyze the text from a text file. So it takes all the values in a text file, all of the words in a text file. So we have Dracula there. It takes all of the words and it counts them. So then we're going to have this database of words to count. Okay. So let's say we wanted to instead write a program where the user could ask the question, they could type in the words. All right, so we're gonna write a little program here that lets the user type in a word and it will tell you how many times that word appears inside of a text file. So we're gonna load, for our example, we're gonna use Dracula. For some reason, it's not letting me type here. Let's try reloading this one. I don't know why. We're gonna try reloading it here and see if it'll let me. It's not letting me, there we go. All right, so I'm going to comment this out for now. All right, so we want a program. It's gonna load up Dracula, and then let me write a method here that say ask me a question, like void get user prompt user. Okay, so prompt user is going to say console.writeLine what word to check. Okay, and then we're going to get a word from the user string to check equals console.readLine, and then we're going to convert it to lower in variant. We're going to convert it to lower. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm assuming they're going to read it in here. And then we want to see how many times does that word appear in our Dracula text. How many times does that word appear in our Dracula text? So we could do it this way, where we come in here, we calculate our frequencies. All right, we calculate our frequencies, and then we say frequencies dot lookup try get value. Try get key. Try get key. Why isn't there a try get key? Oh, try get value to check. So this is the word we're looking up. And the result here, we're going to say if try get value. So it's going to say if this is true, that means it was in there. Else, we're going to write out console.writeLine no occurrences. I think I spelled occurrences wrong here. What is that saying? Look, I'm not a wordologist. All right, console.writeLine. We'll say here the to check appears, and then the result here, result times, like this. We write codes, not books. That's right, Donnie. That's right. So we're going to prompt the user here. Let me go ahead and comment this out. I'm going to comment this section here. All right, so we prompt the user. And then basically my program is going to be while true prompt user. Okay, so let's check this out. .NET run here. I need to move into this folder. Hash text analyzer. .NET run. Okay, so this program, and I'm moving a little fast and I'll stop and I'll tell you what word to check. So this program is going to check the Dracula text and tell us how many times the word appears. Let's try A-R-E. The word R appears 605 times. 605 times. Maintaining. Maintaining appears once. Banana. No occurrences of the word banana. Dracula. Dracula only appears 36 times in the book Dracula. That's fascinating. Tax. All right. So this, exactly, Smab. So we're answering the question. Smab says back to Dracula. Ooh, exactly. So we have a program that says what word to check. We type in a word until IRS only appears one time. This is part of the disclaimer at the beginning. Okay. What's happening here, and it just, we've optimized it kind of. It's not that big of a deal. We've optimized it a bit. It is literally checking each time. So let's add in a little thing here to determine how long the query takes. How long the query takes. Oh, you know what? I need to do it here. After the user types something in, we're gonna calculate it. And we're gonna put in a thing here that determines, we're gonna say how long it took here. So can I get is there like a system.time? System.time. Can I get current time millis? Current time. What in C#? How do I get the current time in milliseconds? C# current time milliseconds. All right. Get milliseconds C#. See what this person says. All right. We're just gonna randomly take some stuff off of the internet here. All right. So this is our start time. And this is our end time. This is our start time, and this is our end time. Console.writeLine. Query took. End minus start millis. Okay. So we're gonna say, how long did this take? How long did this take? And it should, you'll notice it's really quite fast. Should use the static stopwatch methods. I should. How to stopwatch? Stopwatch dot start new. Beautiful. Stopwatch dot stop. What does this return? What does this return? It returns a stopwatch. Stopwatch. Timer. Timer dot stop. And then I can query this, I'm assuming. Timer dot elapsed. Okay. And we'll see what this puts. Have a beautiful day, Donnie. Thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate it. Not start new. Okay, not start. What should I do? Stopwatch dot. There's now a method to get the timestamp. Get timestamp. I kind of, this feels like it should work. Can you subtract timestamps? Get timestamp. Get timestamp. Are you trying to figure out how long the program takes to run? Just this here. I don't need to know. I just want this, not the whole program, just this here. Augustus asks, are you trying to figure out how long it takes the program to run? Just this line here. Just this line here. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way and see what happens. Start new. .NET run. I'm trying not to get too bogged down here in the details. We'll type in banana. It's actually really fast. I don't know that caching is that important here. Dracula, right? So it's really fast. Banana, Dracula, R. So it's really fast. It's already really fast. But the question is, what is caching? Notice I'm calculating this frequency every time. What I could do, a caching is saying do it once and then reuse it. So if instead I put it up here, now I don't actually have to do a calculation on it. I don't actually have to do a calculation on it. Okay, so now the cache exists and I can just pull from it immediately, so there's no calculation. So I went from being 0.07, what is that, seconds, 0.07 seconds to no seconds, essentially is it. So someone was asking, how do we do caching? Caching is just taking your value, calculating it once, and then saving it and storing it for later, and then you can reuse it. So that's what caching is. A cache is a place where you store stuff and retrieve information. Caching can be used in this way as far as finding the frequency of all of these things. So we've actually cached all of these things in this dictionary here. I hope that answered your question, Gilgamesh. Thank you for asking. I hope that was helpful. All right, thank you for asking that. Okay, Cyan Streams is here, folks. We got the incredible Cyan Streams. Cyan, thank you so much for being here, my friend. I hope you're having a beautiful day, folks. If you guys don't know Cyan Streams, well, streams, science and technology. We got on Wednesdays, we do Whack-'em Wednesdays, where we draw and we learn and do some cool stuff. Dragon Spirit Games, I'm also so glad you're here with us, my friend. You just bought tickets to Unite 23 in Amsterdam. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. I hope you have a great time there. I hope you have a great time. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful time. All right, so we're just talking about caching. That's exactly what a dictionary is very good at doing caching. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dictionary. You can just store a value, you have a long running process, calculate an integer and save that integer. In Unity, we do caching all the time in the awake method. So if we come back to a Unity project here, we have a game object. We might have a rigid, let's imagine we have a rigid body on this thing, right? It turns out it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit slow, not super slow, but in our update method, get component rigid body, like this, we know the rigid body is not going to change. We don't need to go and find it every frame. So we will often put the get component, we'll create a variable, we'll create a field to store it. Rigid body, like so. And then in our start or awake method, we will save it. So we can use it later. If we know it's not going to change, we can save it and we can use it later. Yeah, so caching is just the technique that we do to save that data, use it later, so we don't have to perform that calculation again. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the next question here. If you want to get your question in, when we have time, go ahead and do it. Corpless asks, I am taking first aid training soon for more job opportunities. What do you think about it? I think it's such a good thing to, regardless, irregardless, is that even the right word to say? It doesn't matter. I think that first aid training is an absolutely wonderful thing to have. I do first aid training every 2 years. When I was a teacher in public schools, like in a physical school, I had to do it. But in my backpack, on my keychain, I literally have I carry with me CPR kit and stuff, just in case. You never know when you're going to need it. I've never been in a situation where I had to save someone, but I've known people who have. I know someone who got hit by a car and someone was there that knew how to do CPR and saved that guy's life. Like amazing. It's just, I think everyone, if you should go do first aid training, get that training in there. It's super helpful. At the very least, get like CPR training, those certifications, super useful to have. For more job opportunities, I don't know that it's super helpful with job opportunities. If you're in public schools, if you're at schools, yeah, it's kind of a requirement because they want the safety of the kids. I think it's absolutely a beautiful thing to have. But yeah, on my keychain, I bring with me a CPR kit in case I need to give someone CPR. Luckily, I've never had to. I was a lifeguard. I've given CPR, but luckily, it's not something you usually have to do. Good question, Corfless. Thank you for asking. Here's some points. And Corfless, 50 points, my friend. Clayman asks, how long is your domain reload when you do a code change? Oh, good question. I've never done giant projects. So Clayman's specifically asking, we're going to talk about this after the break. When I modify code, so let's say I change this code and get rid of this cache here. You'll notice when I come back to Unity, Unity has to recompile the project. And because my project's really small, it's quite fast. Here, I'll change some code again. I'll put that back in. Every time I modify my code, Unity kicked off rebuilding in the background. Clayman, this is because my code base is small. As your code base grows, it literally has to recompile everything because it has all these dependencies. This is where assembly definitions, is where DLLs come in clutch. It doesn't have to recompile the code that's inside of this DLL. It only has to recompile the code that's part of my project, part of my scripts. So if I break things down into assembly definitions, it doesn't have to recompile the assembly definitions. So you can break your code into chunks. This is a huge thing when you're developing stuff in Unity that will speed up your development. If you can isolate things into assembly definitions, you're gonna be so glad. It's gonna be so good for you. So it speeds up all the dev. Yeah, so assembly definitions are super important for big projects. Otherwise, your build time could be, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it happens to be. You don't want that turnaround that way. My worst build cycle, let's see, what is my longest build cycle? I think the longest build cycle that I really had trouble dealing with, that I had to optimize, in my senior year of undergrad, we had a software engineering project, and we had a project that to build it, then deploy, and just to build to be able to test. So you'd make a change to be able to go test that change. I think it was over 30 minutes. And so with that project, unit tests and stuff were super important because it had to build, put things together, deploy it, and just to be able to test, because it's like this full stack thing. It was crazy. That one was tough. If you found a bug so this is where tests can be super important as well. Some builds are even longer than that. That's the only one that I had where it's like to actually go and run a thing and see what the change did was 30 minutes. I have been on a project before where the whole like build deploy cycle was like 8 hours. But you didn't have to, it was broken up into assemblies essentially. You didn't have to build the whole thing very often. In fact, you only had to build the whole thing when we went into production. And so typically you had these different chunks. And so we had staging and develop. And then when you went to production, you'd do a full build, and that took a full 8 hours to deploy. So that was a thing. Great question, Clayman. Thank you for asking. Thank you for that wonderful questions. Clayman, 50 points for your question, my friend. Let's check out the next question here. Question. Dragon Spirit Game says, did you ever use speech recognition in Unity? I'm trying to set it up. I get files created. However, they don't capture anything. I've never done speech recognition. I'm assuming, Dragon Spirits, if you're still here, I'm assuming you're asking, have I written anything in Unity where someone like talks into the microphone and it does speech recognition on that? No, I haven't. No, I have not. I'm assuming there's like an external library you're using. What library are you using? I'm trying to get set. I get files created, however they don't capture anything. I have done speech recognition with Google's API. But that requires you, I think, to have an internet connection. Although you can download it and have a big file associated with it as well. Also, Decent Wiz and Filet of Me. So sorry, Filet of Me. I missed your follow. I see it now, but Decent Wiz, Filet of Me. Thank you guys so much for the follow. Decent Wiz and Filet of Me. Welcome to the family. You are here today, and I'd like to say thank you for following me. Thank you so much for the follow, and welcome to the crew, my friend. Guys, as I get the code to compile, the first step is that I don't get the audio in the file. Gotcha. Dragon Spirit Games, this one feels like it might be a little bit too complex to answer on stream. I'm gonna suggest you answer it on the Discord. On the Discord. Beliar, exactly. That's a great question. Does it work outside of Unity? Can you get it to work outside of Unity? Especially if it's like an external thing would be good. But I think this one might be too complex to just answer directly on stream here. Yeah, so I'm going to recommend you ask for it on the Discord, and then we can have sort of a back and forth conversation, and you can do a more in-depth, you can share your code, do that sort of stuff. Tough question. I'm sorry I don't have more information. I have Hugging Face API that I use, but without anything to send to, I can't get it to work. The microphone doesn't work. I made a Discord thread for it. Awesome. Cool. We'll check it out. Maybe we'll do that next week. Maybe I'll play around with it, and then maybe next Thursday we'll do some text to, is it text to speech or speech to text? I got it backwards. Speech recognition. Maybe next week we'll take a look at it. That'll be super fun, I think. Speech to text. Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you. Goat M, welcome back to the stream, my friend. So sorry. I don't know if I said a welcome to you, but Goat asks, what's a hint or heuristic that some code needs to be extracted? What about a heuristic that code has been extracted too early? Ooh, if we had a good answer for this, you know, I might be a millionaire. But I'll tell you my thoughts. I'll tell you some places to start looking, and I'm going to give you a recommendation here. Martin Fowler refactoring is an excellent resource for knowing not necessarily specifically when code needs to be abstracted, but it has a ton of examples. Martin Fowler's refactoring book. This is, I think it's a generalized book, and you know, it's not specific to a program language. It might have one, but this improving the design of existing code. So this book is a must read for any developer. I think this is a book that is a must read for any developer, as it talks through examples. It talks through examples of, here's this project, here's this thing that you can very clearly the code's gotten out of control, and then how to refactor it. So refactor is taking code that exists, rewriting it without changing the functionality, typically to simplify it. So the question here tends to be, how are we managing code? How do I manage code? What do I do to manage code? For me, one of the hints for me as abstraction is, have I done this thing more than once? So the rule of dry, don't repeat yourself. If you're repeating yourself, that's a good sign of an abstraction. That's a good sign of an extraction. This is where prototypes come in super helpful. I am a big, you know, so I'm a criminal. I'm criminal when it comes to abstracting too early. If you've been watching my stream for any amount of time, you will know that Captain Coder over abstracts, over engineers all the time. I get excited and I pull things out. And so the answer is a little bit more nuanced, but if you find, I'm trying to think of a good answer. I have found that and this is what I tell my students. If it doesn't fit on one screen, it's probably too long. If it doesn't fit on one screen, it's probably too long. If your functionality of like one concept is spread out and everything's like one or two lines of code, it's probably too abstracted. So like there's this balance of like, what does it need to do? What does it have to do? And so like there's these ideas in object-oriented program that help us do it. There's these principles that help us follow it. Keep it simple. Yes, keep it simple, silly. Redmer, that's such a good example. KSS. So I would say at the point, start by writing it as one thing, and then follow the idea of like, does my method, does my class do one thing? The single solid principle, single responsibility, single thing. What does it do, right? Does it do one thing, and can it be tested? Does it do one thing and can it be tested? I think that is a good heuristic. It's, does it do one thing and can it be unit tested? If it does more than one thing, consider abstracting it. That would be my advice. I hope that was maybe a little bit helpful. But yeah, I am such an over abstractor. I over abstract everything. If you watch my coding katas with the Grumpy Game Dev last time, I immediately was like, oh, well, I need to create a class for this. And I was like, no, luckily Grumpy sort of stopped me. Also, by the way, folks, Grumpy Game Dev and I, on the second Saturday of every month, we do a coding kata together where we do test-driven development. Grumpy forces me to be a good programmer. This next month, September 9th, so be there or be a square. Red Mers, nice to have you here. Roy Lisi, welcome back to the stream. Permission to engage? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do it. Make it so. Make it so, my friend. Wavy asks, is it time for stretchy poos? It's almost time. Yar nerd. Yes, almost time. Almost time. We got one more question, then we're going to go on here. Taylor. Eon Taylor. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Feel free to correct me. Says, my Python role is data manipulation / data gathering from systems, I think, or so I've been told. I understand basic Python, but where can I find some fun projects or tutorials to create to get me ready for this job? Thanks a lot. Yeah, so my go-to for Python stuff is Code Academy. Code Academy Python. This doesn't do projects, but this will get you up to speed with Python syntax and Python things, and I believe it's completely free. So this will get you started, and if you already have basic programming knowledge, you can almost certainly jump into like building a chat bot, building a Python. So I was gonna say web apps is often a thing that's done with Python and Flask. This one I know. Let's see, you're doing data manipulation, data gathering. So one of these, analyzing financial data with Python, is probably a great start here. Let me see if this link goes to the same place here. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna suggest, my suggestion would be analyzing financial data, but Code Academy is a great place to get started. I am personally not a big fan of like YouTube tutorial videos because they give you this false sense of actually learning something, whereas these actually have you doing tasks, doing things that require you to program, and it has tests it runs against you. And so this website, Code Academy, is great for Python stuff. That said, I'm not personally, I'm not a huge Python user, but I worked at a job for 4 years where our main backend was in Python. We did a Python Flask application that was connected to machine learning and stuff. So I have done my fair share of Python. All right, folks. I hope that answered your questions. Thank you so much for asking them. If I missed, I'm sure I missed someone. Eon Taylor. Is it okay if I call you Taylor? Feel free to correct me on that pronunciation. 50 points to you, my friend. But we're going to take a break. Who else was here? Hang on. I need to give points where points are deserved. Goat asked a question. Add points. Goat, 50 points to you. I might have missed you, Dragon Spirit Games, so I'm going to go ahead and give you some bonus points just in case. Dragon Spirit Games, 50 points. And all of you, add points at all. For all of you for being here, 200 bonus points to all of you. We're gonna hop out here. We're gonna take a quick break. I'm almost out of bean water. I'm gonna refresh my brain water. I'm gonna chug some fresh water here. And then when we come back, we are gonna move forward. We are gonna be talking about, what are we talking about next? Assembly definitions in Unity, how to link them up, how to do some unit testing, and then we'll be back. Saddalone says, is it worth it to learn Django? Absolutely. Django, if you're doing web development in Python, Django's a fabulous place. It's a batteries included framework for doing web dev, back end, front end stuff. Django is a fabulous tool to get up and running right away. Absolutely worth learning if you haven't done anything in the past. Flask and is the other one I've heard. Okay, folks, we'll be back. Get ready for some stretches. When we come back, we're gonna stretch. We're gonna have some fun and get the whole crew. Get your mom, get your dad, get your cousin, get your co-workers, get your girlfriend, Wavy. I know. Get them. We're gonna stretch, folks. I'll be back. All right, everybody, the captain is back. I hope you got yourself some more bean water. I hope you got yourself some more fresh water. Thank you for the welcome back, Roy Lacey. We're gonna do some stretches, folks. We're gonna hop into it. We're gonna do some stretches. Because you know what? The captain loves you. Which means
you in the back. Pay attention.
Which means you should love you. And if you love you, you gotta take care of yourself. And so we're gonna take care of ourselves. You probably, if you're like me, if you are anything like me, you're hunched over on your computer like a code and troll, hunched over, getting those RSIs, those repeated stress injuries. You gotta get up. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta work out. Love your body. I got my workout equipment right over it. Look, Captain Coder's been working out. Boom. Been working out, got all my workout stuff. Not all my workouts. I got some of my workout stuff. You gotta take care of yourself. So if you aren't using LinkedIn, you're not taking care of yourself. That's true. True facts. Truefacts.gov. All right, folks, get on up with the captain. We're gonna get some stretches in because the captain loves you, which means you should love you. And if you love you, you gotta take care of that body. So get on up with the captain. Get on up with the captain. And we are gonna start by getting our forearms stretched out here. Grab those fingertips, pull them back. Oh, RSIs do suck, Thindle says. Absolutely. It's a true facts, F-A-X. That's right, Tommy. It's a true facts. We're stretching out that forearm. If you feel any pain, go ahead and stop. But you're going to just grab those fingertips, pull back until you get a little bit of tension in that forearm. I should be going this way so you guys can actually see. Keep that arm straight. Try not to lock the elbow, though. If you lock the elbow, it cuts off the blood flow. And let's go ahead and roll that wrist out. Roll it out. We're going to go the other direction now. Fingertips down, grab them. You're going to feel it across the top. Just a little bit of tension. And as you're pulling down here, just feel that tension on the top. Oh yeah. Doesn't it feel good? Should feel good. If you have any pain, this one can hurt in the wrist. If it's hurting the wrist, you got to stop. You gotta stop. You just straight down. You don't want to pull toward yourself. Don't want to pull away from you. Straight down like that. 5 more seconds here, and then we're gonna switch sides. Oh yeah. Go and roll that wrist out, folks. Roll it out, and take those other arm. Grab those fingertips, pull it back until you feel the tension across the bottom there. I'm just gonna hold it tight here for 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Oh man. It's been good. I've been doing so good this month. I've lost, so start of this month, I was 245, weighed myself this morning. I'm down to 235, which is right on track. I'm hoping to lose 1.5, 2 pounds a week until I get down to 220, and then I'm going to switch down to doing 1 pound a week. So I like when I've done it in the past. And when I was at my worst, go and roll that wrist out, folks. Roll that wrist out. When I was at my worst, I weighed 285 pounds. It was way too much. 285 pounds. If someone in the chat wants to convert that to kilograms for me, you can. I think it's like I want to say 190. I'm not that tall. Yeah, it's rough. 140 kilograms. Thank you, Thindle. But yeah, so I was like, I can't do this. This is not good for me. I had high blood pressure. I was in bad shape. It was rough. Doctor was basically telling me I need to take care of it. Go and roll that wrist out, folks. Roll that wrist out. I'm 6'1", Gilgamesh. I'm 6'1". Gilgamesh, welcome back. Oh, we're gonna go and stretch up. Take those hands, pull them up, bring the arm, bring it back down here. But yeah, I had high blood pressure, really high body fat content, and I went on a diet for 2 years essentially. And when I say diet, it's not just diet and exercise. Building up body muscle. Well, I got down to like 198 is sort of where I got, and then I started like, I was back and forth, 198, 220, 190, 220, over and over and over. And then this last couple years, it's been rough for a lot of people. Last couple years, I got up to 250, 245, and I've just sort of been hovering there. I was like, all right, I really got to do something about this. And I just haven't been exercising as a big part of it. And I've been eating a little bit too much. Oh, let that go. Switch sides here. Take the arm, fly to the back, grab that elbow, pull it across. I'm just going to stretch it out here. But yeah, it doesn't take that much exercise. So I've been doing three strength training exercises per day, about 20 to 30 minutes, doing 3 to 5 reps depending on them. But I got my workout bench over here that I work out on, doing dumbbell exercise, working on my biceps, triceps, quads, all chest, back, shoulders,
core muscles, but just want to get in there. And then dieting is the other one. Diet is the biggest part of it. Go and let that down. Do some shoulder rolls next, folks. Do some shoulder rolls. Taylor asks, have you ever been to UK, specifically Scotland? That's where I'm from. So it's a Scottish name. Sounds like Yuan. Yuan Taylor. No, I haven't been to Scotland. I would love to go. All right, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. We're going to take the shoulders up, back, and down. And we're going to roll back. 2, 3, 4. At the elbows. Ooh. 2, 3, 4. Full arms. 2, 3, 4. Rolling forward. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Add the elbows. Ooh, yeah. 2, 3, 4. Full arm. 2, 3, 4. Oh, thank you guys for joining me in those stretches. That felt wonderful. I hope it felt good for you. We're gonna hop back in here. We're gonna talk about some assembly definitions. Bring it on in. Bring it on in. Bring it on in. Huh. All right. All right. Let's see how it looks in our generic view here. Bring it in. There I am. There I am down there in the corner. But yeah, say it's similar to Ewan McGregor? Ewan McGregor? Ewan, because I thought it was Ewan McGregor? No, I don't know. Taylor, I'm sorry. I'm bad at it. Thank you for the doy, Lance. Thank you for the doy. I appreciate it. All right, got a little marker here. It's going to be assembly definitions. If I miss something in chat, folks, I'm sorry. Feel free to tag me, and I'll try and get to it. Sometimes I miss things. Look, I'm not perfect. All right, so we talked about DLLs, how to get our assemblies from outside of Unity, so we can program outside of Unity, because sometimes programming inside of Unity slows us down. Lunar Wolf, thank you, Yuan. I'm gonna try. Oh yeah, for joining me in those stretches. 50 points to all of you beautiful people out there. How to say Ewan McGregor? Let's take a look here. Oh boy.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan. It's Ewan? Ewan McGregor. I can't believe I've been saying that wrong my whole life. Ewan McGregor. Ewan. Thank you for letting me know. All right, so we talked about getting our dependencies in here. And it turns out this dependency is what's called, essentially it's an assembly definition. You take your code, you assemble it, and you have that chunk of code available elsewhere. Inside of Unity, you can do this same thing. You may have seen this before. If you right click, you come up to create, you may have seen assembly definition and assembly definition reference. You may have actually seen this in here, not known what it does. This allows you to segment your code, to take your code and say, this chunk is an assembly definition, that chunk is assembly definition, allows us to separate it out. And the biggest benefit, there's multiple benefits, but the biggest one when I'm working in a Unity project is the amount of time it takes to compile stuff. So if you're very careful and after you have a big project, it's harder to separate it. But when you're building things out initially, separate it into logic. So we might have, so an example here in Unity, I'm going to create two assemblies. One of them is going to be like inventory system. All right, so we have an inventory system. And then the other system is going to be our player system, something like that. So we have our inventory system, we have our player system. The player needs an inventory, but the inventory doesn't actually care about the player. Dividing into separate projects. That's exactly right, Beliar. Beliar asks, is that similar to dividing it into separate projects? It is. So it's taking the code and saying what codes needs to know about each other. So in my inventory system now, This is where and you probably already do this with your code, where you segment it out into directories and folders and break it up this way. All right, so I might have a class in here that is my inventory, like this. So I have an inventory. Okay. And then in my player, I'm going to create another one in here called player. Player. Okay. And what we might do is, well, in my player system, my player is going to need an inventory. And you'll notice when I added these in, it has to compile. It has to compile these. Now it has to compile the code. As I add more scripts, as I add more source files, the compilation process takes longer and longer. It takes longer and longer. My player, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it needs an inventory. I'll give my player an inventory. I'll make it public for now. Public inventory. So my player is dependent on my inventory system. My inventory system is not dependent on my player. Okay. Right now, when I change my player script, it has to compile everything. It compiles my inventory script. It compiles my grid cell script. But what I can do is say, well, my inventory is separated. I can create an assembly definition. Assembly definition. And usually these are named something like, I would do captain coder dot inventory, like this. So I'd create this captain coder inventory. Now everything within this folder and all subfolders thereof will be part of that definition. And one of the issues we're going to run into, you'll typically also, let's go ahead and reload this. Why is this project loaded and ready to use? Let's add this to a namespace. That's another thing you'll typically do, namespace. This is another way to segment it. Control it, captain coder dot inventory. We'll put some curly braces here saying that this is part of this namespace, captain coder dot inventory. And when I put it in this namespace, I'm slightly confused here. I was expecting something slightly different, but now I have this assembly here. My player system, I put it in that namespace. Now I have to say using captain coder dot inventory to access it. All right, so I have access to it. And now, yeah, so it creates the project. It has the solution for me. It's actually doing all the references for us, which is really, really cool. Really, really cool. Now let's go on even further, take it a step further. And in our player system, let's create another assembly here. I'm going to turn this into another assembly. I'm going to call this captain coder dot player. And captain coder, you could replace it with the name of your game. Usually it's like your company dot project dot namespace typically. Okay. One error we are getting now down at the bottom, because I've created another assembly here, I get an error message saying the type or namespace inventory doesn't exist in the namespace captain coder. At this point, this assembly, it's saying, hey, I don't know anything about an inventory. I'm getting an error now in my player. I'm surprised it's not showing up here. It essentially should be on here. Assembly C# available, C# captain coder player not available. If we look here, it's a little hard to see. If I zoom in, I lost it. If I zoom in here, inventory, it says captain coder player not available, not available. And so this is saying that it doesn't have a reference to that assembly. Okay, so our inventory system is separate. Our player system is now separate. It says, I only know about the stuff in this folder. What we can do is, and if you've done this with a .NET project, you're updating your project definition, we can actually select the assembly definition here. And what we can say is we reference another assembly. So here, this is where we would select that. In this case, if I click the little dot here, you'll see I get captain coder inventory. I can select that. And then I click apply. And now this assembly will correctly reference. It has to rebuild now because it's saying, oh, I need to build against that thing. Now it'll correctly that. Now if I edit my player script, you know, I'm gonna do, let's add in a rigid body RB here. Thank you for the doy, Hellraiser. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the stream. I add in a rigid body. This has to recompile, but it will only recompile the scripts within this folder, within this definition. Okay. What about in my inventory? If I modify my inventory and I edit this, it has to recompile everything in here. Has to recompile everything in here. And then it also has to recompile everything in here. So the dependencies, it doesn't get you off the hook for recompiling everything, but it does do some isolation. So why does it work that way? Why is it that when I modify my inventory system, it actually causes all of the scripts in my player assembly to also be recompiled? And it's because it's a dependency. It's a dependency. So if we draw it in here, how about if we draw it in here? So I have my player assembly, right? And my player assembly relies on my inventory. Okay. When I make changes to this, my player code has to also recompile. It says, hey, I need to know these changes here. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. It turns out you can do some fancy stuff where that's not the case. So if your API, if your interfaces are all defined nice, you can just drop in a new DLL. This is where like the DLL outside works really well. But our assembly definitions allow us to do this. So if your inventory system's done and it's built and you're happy with how it works, you can just work in here. You never have to recompile your inventory. It's great. It's beautiful. It's wonderful to do that. Yeah, it's fantastic. Mick Boink, thank you so much for the follow. MC Boink, thank you for following me. Thank you for being here today. Mick Boink, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Cabinet Coders Academy. We're so happy to have you here. So an assembly definition really is just a DLL under the hood. It's just a dynamically linked library under the hood. It just includes all the Unity stuff, and it allows you to keep it isolated and separated. And if you do these well and you think about how they're structured, you're going to increase your build times drastically when you're editing. It's really important skill to learn. Tommy Luco asks, so how about Captain OS? Is it in the making? Am I working on the Captain operating system? I think that would be a really fun project to work on, Tommy. I really do think that'd be a fun project. I don't know when we're going to do it. I don't know when to do it, but be sure to suggest it on the Discord. We might do so right now Thursdays are data structure and algorithm Thursdays. Sorry, no, Tuesdays. Scratch it. Ignore what I just said. Tuesdays are data structure and algorithm Tuesdays. Thursdays are game dev. So data structure algorithm on Tuesday, game dev on Thursday, and then Saturday, Sunday is usually guest star day. We have someone join us. We hang out with them. This Saturday we're gonna have Moonniz. We might have. I'm gonna see if we can coordinate. I'd like to coordinate. We made Moonniz, Irish John Games, and Red Cabin Games. We worked on a project together. This was Moon's idea called Send It Forward, where we're making a game. But you're not allowed to communicate. So for example, I started Thindle next time. Thindle, we'll get you in there next time. JD, thank you so much for the nice. Good. Yeah, so Moonniz came up with this idea. I think he may have seen it somewhere, but I love this idea. I started out, so I got to spend 6 hours making a game. 6 hours making a game. I have 6 hours to work on it. When I'm done, I send it off to Moonniz. I'm not allowed to communicate. I'm not allowed to leave comments. I have to write code for Moonniz, build up the project, send it off to Moonniz. Now, Moonniz gets 6 hours to work on it. All right. Moonniz works on it, and then he sends it off to Irish John. Irish John works on it for 6 hours, sends it off to Red Cabin Games, who works on it for 6 hours. So we each worked on it for 6 hours with no communication aside from, hey, I'm done, it's your turn. When Red Cabin Games finished, sent it back to me, and we did a second pass. We did 2 rounds. The second round, we did 4 hours. So it was 6 hours the first round, 4 hours the second round. It was super fun. I haven't seen the final product, but Red Cabin Games just finished, so the Jonas finished his turn earlier this week. So I think we're going to do a live stream of us checking it out together, and it has multiplayer capabilities in it as well. Someone added multiplayer to it, so I'm kind of excited for that. But I'm really excited for that. So maybe Saturday, that's what we'll do this week. Muniz and I are going to do a stream on Saturday together. We hadn't quite figured out what we were going to be doing just yet. So if Irish John can make it and Red Cabin Games make it, maybe we'll do that on Saturday. That would be super cool, super fun. But yeah, it was a super fun project that we've been working on for the last like 2 months. Something like that. There's a little hiccup in it for a bit, but yeah, it was nice. Wavy says, my gosh, I love watching videos of people making games with no communication. It was wild. It was really, really fun. You should definitely look into those videos on YouTube. I seen one where they had 11 people with no communication. That would be the coordination was hard. The coordination was hard with time constraints and stuff. So I think we'll organize it a little bit better. I do think what I'd like to do, I have this idea with Muniz where it would be really cool if we, have this idea with Muniz, and we've talked about it a little bit, just timing's hard, where we do that, just the 2 of us, once a week. So I'd have a stream dedicated to working on that project, and then Muniz would stream working on it, and we'd go back and forth on a project and no communication. And then after 2 months, we'd have like a stream where we talk about the process together. I think that would be really cool to do. Yeah, but that's right. All right, that's it for assembly definitions. There's one more topic I wanted to talk about briefly. I don't have a project set up, but it looks like I'm going to have to hop off here in a little bit, unfortunately. Looks like I'm going to have to get going. But before I do, I just wanted to point out, someone was asking about how to write optimizations. How do you know where to optimize your code? Say I have some code. How do I know where to optimize it? And there's not a particularly good answer. Really, it comes down to optimization. The big one is you want your update loop to be in game development. You want your main loop to be as tight as possible. You want your main loop to be as tight as possible. You don't want to have tons of code executed in your update loop, because that is going to kill your performance. Imperial, welcome back. That said, in Unity, they have a profiler, and I wish I had a better project for this. And let me open up my Crazy Marble game here, and we'll do a profiler on it. And the profiler will actually give you some insights. Let's open up Crazy Marble. Is this the right one? Switch to this one. Oh, cancel. Hang on. 2021. Here we go. The profiler. Yeah, Unity has a specific profiler that will tell you, give you a bunch of information. We're gonna launch this. We're gonna look at the profiler in Unity, and this will help you decide where should I do stuff. Where should I do stuff? Thindle, yeah, use numbers. There's a performance in thingamajig in VS that you can attach to your compiled and Unity project. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things you can do, but the main idea here is you want to be using the profiler to help you when you're at a point where you're doing these things. Maybe you're finding a lag spike. Maybe you're doing these bubble things. The Unity profile will give you some insights on where to look. It doesn't always help you when you're in the development mode. So you also want to do it profiling against a build, and I'll show you how to set that up as well. And then we got to hop off. So sorry, I got to go a little bit earlier than I thought I would. But I appreciate y'all being here. Imperial, how's your game coming along? Imperial's making a great game about a cloud that I can't wait to play some more. Use numbers. Wavy says the ones with a bunch of people. It's crazy to see how it starts. By the time it's over, it's completely different than where the first person wanted to go. Yeah, the game we put together Definitely different than what I had in mind. Way different than what I had in mind. It's like a swinging game. Swingtopia is, I think, what the name became. So I'm pretty excited to show it off in a little bit here. Maybe Saturday. Stay tuned, folks. Maybe Saturday. Rated M. Nope, not rated M. Rated F for fun. Rated F for fun. That's you know, I don't work at a school where we give letter grades. But if I were in charge of grades, F would be the highest level grade you get. Instead of starting with an A, start at F. F for fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, JD, this is a PG-11 stream, my friend. PG-11. Thank you. Yes. All right. Roy Koo, welcome back to the stream. Happy Meows Day. Happy Meows Day. How you doing, Roy Koo? Wavy, I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to do it. Oh man, this is taking forever to load. Look, this is Unity stuff. Rated M for Meows Day. M for Meows Day. That's right, Roy Koo. But yeah, here we go. Crazy Marble game. It's been a while since I looked at Crazy Marble. Let's see here. So let's go to my game. I think there should be a menu here. All. Main menu. Is this even the right project? Scenes. Oh, this is not the right project. Do not modify. No, hang on. Something terrible has happened here. Oh boy. Where's my Crazy Marble project? Crazy Marble. It must be this one. It must be this one. All right, open that up, change version. All right, folks, I'm so sorry. We might not be able to see the profiler. I should have opened this up ahead of time. Corpless, welcome back. After 2 hours of self-assessment for first aid training. Yeah, thank you for your question, though. We did answer your question. I think first aid training is absolutely a wonderful thing to have. I have first aid training. I was showing off might be a strong word. But on my keychain, look, my keychain here, I have my CPR kit. My CPR kit on this. You never know when you might need it. It's so good. It's such a good thing for people to have that first aid training. You could save a life. You never know. Luckily, I've never had to do it out in the world, but I do know someone who got hit by a car and a person was there, was able to give them CPR and keep them alive till paramedics arrived. Saved their life. Saved their life. So it's something I think everyone should have. From an employment standpoint, so you were asking for job opportunities? Yes, if you want to be a teacher and work with young people, absolutely, it's a requirement. It's a requirement to have it. If you work at summer camps, if you work at public schools, if you work at regular stores, you have to have it. If you aren't cracking ribs, you aren't doing it right. Yeah, you don't want to have to give CPR. You don't want to have to give it, but you could save a life. You could absolutely save a life. Yeah. First aid training, like I said, save a life. Yeah, load in. All right, I think we had a question. Let's take a look at the question. Well, this is loading. Where'd my questions go? I think someone asked. Clayman asks, off topic, from the top of your head, do you know if there's a way to dispose all instances of a known type in C#, like get type.dispose all? Off the top of my head, I don't know. Does anyone in chat know? Dispose all instances. Is there, yeah, I don't know that there's a way to do it. You could probably do it with reflection, but that feels really expensive. You could use reflection to go find all of the types that have been instantiated. Let me ask you a question, Clayman, do you want to do it for one specific type or any arbitrary type? So the real question is it for an arbitrary type or is it one specific type? If you're doing it for one specific type, you could keep a registry that would be pretty easy to do it. So every time one of these things gets created, it gets added to a registry, and then that particular type has a dispose all on it. But doing it for generic feels hard. Yeah. I think if you're using, if you know exactly what type you have and you have control over the source code over that type, there's a way we could use it by caching a reference to all of them. Yeah. CL dry, CL dry, CL dry, CL dry. I'm probably saying that wrong, but thank you for the follow. CL dry, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for following. And City, oh City, I'd like to welcome you to the stream. Oh yeah, we've got City, oh City. Thank you for following me today. City, thank you so much for the follow. I'm so glad you're here on this beautiful Thursday. Beautiful Thursday. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Captain Coders Academy. Let's see here. Yeah, so we were going to look at the profiler. So I have my main menu here. So anyone who's not familiar with this, we made a game, one of my on stream, Crazy Marble. We made this in 12 days. You can check it out. But it's this Unity game, and we can actually use our profiler. I wanted to open it up so you can see the profile. Crazy Marble flashbacks, yeah. So we have our analysis profiler. And if you turn this on, you get all sorts of information about your project. Where is your resources going? What is being used up here? Rendering, scripts, physics, and you can turn these things on and off. Be like, well, is my rendering doing what scripts? My physics, animations, VSync. You can turn these things off and see, well, what the other is the biggest one. So how much of the processing power are we using here? How much is going on with graphical physics, that sort of thing. So you can even record it. So here's the cool thing. You can record it, go back, analyze it, how much memory is being used, what's going on with the audio. So there's all kinds of amazing stuff here. I'm not doing anything with Physics 3D. We can look at what Physics 3D is doing. So this game is all about Physics 3D. That's the whole premise here. So let's take a look here. Let's pull this off to the side here so we can watch. Let me actually just pop this out. Pop out. Boom. And then we can get our profile. We can have Crazy Marble going, have the profile on the side. Let me turn up my music. Get that funk. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. One sec. Let me adjust my desktop audio here. Like so. Uh-oh, that's probably way too loud. Sorry if I blew you up there for a second. Apologies. All right, pull my profiler out. There we go. So we can have these sort of side by side. We can watch as I play the game. We can look for spikes. This is our CPU usage. And we can see where things get hefty. Let me get my controller out here. We're gonna play. I haven't played this in a while. We're gonna see if we can play through the Tower of Bullying, folks. See if we can play through the Tower of Bullying. I'm not sure if I'm seeing my controller's still connected properly. Here we go. Tower of Bullying. All right, so notice as I'm playing this, my profiler is giving me information. So as I fall off here, notice the profiler, that's where we can come here and we can analyze, say what's going on here. I could actually record this information and then come back and look at it. And this is live mode here. And so let's look at our physics system. As I start moving, it's gonna start going up because now it's actually doing stuff with it. The cloud of disapproval, Hellraiser. I'm so sorry you've disapproved here. All right, but the physics system, there's a lot more going on with it as I'm going through. When I do a jump, you'll notice the physics system triggers some stuff going on in here. So the profiler is an excellent way to say, well, the biggest one is, where's my CPU usage getting high? What is causing this? Is it in my rendering? Is it in my scripts? Is it in the physics engine? You can turn these on and off. In this case, I'm going to turn off other because that's where most of it's coming from, this other spot here. But in my scripts, that's where a lot of it's happening too. Rendering scripts, so we can break it down: physics, animations, these different things. We can look at where's the cost, and we'll notice most of my cost actually isn't in my scripts. So that tells me I don't have a lot going on. But if I were to, let's see if we can get this to get high here. Let's make it high. I'm gonna add in some stuff. I'm gonna add, I closed my window there. Let's go into my player controller here. I'm gonna make sure not to commit this. Let's open up my player controller. Move, marble controls, marble movement controller. We're gonna do something dumb here just to show how you could see where something's taking a long time. Int I equals 0, I less than. Let's just have it. Every frame, we're gonna do nothing 100,000 times. Do nothing 100,000 times. We might even do debug.log. Wait here. We're gonna do this. This is gonna be a huge expense. Huge expense here. All right. So we'll be able to. We should see if I am correct. We should be able to see this in our profiler. And now we'll be able to identify it there. So our profiler, it's not running yet. It's not until my player movements. Pull this out again. That's interesting, sorry. The screen resolution here. Oh man, that's ugly. I feel like I fixed that at some point. Oh, it's because I'm on free aspect. Okay, we want to be scaling to our 16 by 9. I believe so. Is it 16 by 9 or 16 by 10? I think it's 16 by 9. There we go. Coming to our tower of Boolean. 100,000 times would have been too much. Yeah, it was too much. Now my oh, I've crashed Unity. I've crashed Unity, folks. I should have done 1,000. Should have done 1,000. I've crashed Unity. That's disappointing. That's a true disappointment there. That's a true. If Unity ever locks up on you, it is often that you have